what it is, what's happening. Back on the wrecker project just as promised. So I've got some of the rail cleaned up here. This is where our old spring bucket was. We're not going to clean the top edge because the top edge gets cut out where these boxes get mounted. So I just went ahead and made my measurements. I know in a couple of videos earlier I thought that the holes, there's some existing holes where the bump stops were, and I just could not remember. And I might have said that you use one of those holes. I was actually wrong. I had to go back and look at my paperwork because I had it all written down from a long time ago when I did a bunch of research. This is actually the second Crown Vic I put in one of these Ford trucks, but it's been a long time. So what you got to do is you got to make some measurements. So your lineup, your locating pins on your subframe are exactly 31 inches across. Let me try to make this look a little easier. Let me spin you around. What we're getting ready to drill now is a 3/4 inch hole in the frame rail. So these plastic dowels, there are locating pins which will center the Crown Vic front suspension in the truck. So we've made our measurements. The tops of those pins are exactly 31 inches across. So we made a measurement from the edge of this hole over, which is 3/8 of an inch. From the edge of this frame rail in is an inch. And you can see, got a center punch hole. And we made one on this frame here. When we run our tape measure from this center punch to that center punch, is exactly 31 inches, which is the dimensions of the Crown Vic. So now we're going to get ready and drill those holes out. We'll drill a pilot hole and then we'll open them up to 3/4. And if my measurements are correct, it should just slip right in. The alignment pins should drop right in the new holes I drill. We'll hold it with a floor jack and then we'll drill our holes up from the bottom to make way for our boxes. Now you see that big hole there is where our alignment pin will go through, and then these are our other holes. So let me go get a drill. Let's drill them out, and if I did my measurements correct, we're good. Also, another way you can measure back is you can go from the center of your radiator support hole 22.1 inches back, and that'll determine where your center line is also. I don't really use that measurement much because most of the time the radiator holes in the frame are rotted out or are oblong from rust. The driver's side on this one was good. So you can get you a center across here. You want to go from the center there back. But as you can see, kind of hard to do on that one. That one isn't really round anymore. We will cut that out and we will repair that. The driver's side one's actually okay, so we'll leave it alone. So you want to do from the center of your radiator support 22.1 inches back, and then from the edge of the frame rail 1 inch in on both sides. Recheck your measurements. It should be from center punch to center punch should be exactly 31 inches. Drill you a pilot hole and drill you a 3/4 inch hole. She slip right in. So I'm going to do that. Let's see how she fits. Now I got my pilot holes drilled. Now what I did here was, this might help some of you guys. Upper part of the frame kind of gets it away from drilling down from the top. You can drill from the bottom, but the upper part of the frame, I notched it. Now, part of this is going to go away anyway because this box is going to fit inside there like so. Obviously, it'll sit in there like that, actually, but down inside the frame. So part of this material has got to get removed anyway. So what I did was, I just went ahead, took the torch, cut a section out so I can drill straight down instead of trying to drill up from the bottom. I could have transferred my marks from up top to the bottom and drilled up from the bottom, yes. I didn't feel like wearing a bunch of hot shavings or risk getting in my eye. Since the top part of the frame rail's got to be removed anyway, I just cut out a little section so I can drill from the top down. That's all. So now I'm going to drill my 3/4 inch hole, and then a moment of truth. We'll roll that up, we'll put it on the floor jack, and we'll roll it under the truck and put it up. Let's hope. Let's see where I'm at. Well, it fits. Big milestone. Big milestone for this truck. I've been fooling with this thing for quite some time. I think I've been fooling with this thing on and off for 2 years. It's official. It's in there. Now my next step is I need to drill pilot holes from the bottom up for where the long bolts that go all the way through these boxes go. Now these boxes are going to go inside the frame rail. They go in here. So I have to drill holes for the subframe here and here. And these boxes will go in here like so. Now I have to cut the frame. So I kind of cut it over here, and then these get welded in. I knew that was going to do that. They get welded in the frame, and then it has these plates with these extremely long bolts. It has this plate here. This plate will sit on, this plate goes on the subframe. Let me get my seatbelt out of the way. Seatbelt was just used to lift it up. This plate goes on there like so, sits up there like that, and then these bolts go all the way through, bolt the subframe in. Believe it or not, these 4 bolts and then some rear control arm brackets is all that holds the subframe in this truck. It's kind of amazing, really. But that's all that holds them in a Crown Vic as well. Now, I don't want to sound like that guy. We always run into that one guy at a car show. Oh, I had the first Corvette. Oh, I had the first big block. I don't want to be that guy. But I'm going to say I'm the first guy around this area that's got a Crown Vic underneath of a real tow truck. Not some pickup truck that I took and put a tow truck boom in. This was a factory built, well-built wrecker. This is a real, honest-to-God tow truck that I am cutting up and putting a Crown Vic in. And we'll have a Cleveland in it, factory 4-speed. And I don't want to sound like that guy because I really hate that guy. You go to the car show, you know that guy. Yeah, my grandfather worked for GM. I was able to get the very first Corvette. I hate that guy. And I hate that guy, you go to the car show. Yeah, I just built an S10, got a Corvette motor in it. Corvette trans with a Corvette servo. Shut up, dude. Just shut up. But I don't want to be that guy. But I might be that guy that has a tow truck with a Crown Vic front suspension under it. This thing's going to be cool. At least I think it's going to be cool. It sure as hell is going to be different. So this is a big milestone for this project. All jokes aside, I like to joke around. Big milestone. Subframe's in. And as you can see, my measurements were good. Our line-up pin comes right up through the hole on both sides. Perfect. Now, there's a lot of talk on a lot of forums. There's even a Crown Vic subframe swap page on Facebook. There's a lot of guys, them lineup pins are just nylon pins. They're not a big deal. But there's a lot of guys that say they knock them pins out, throw them away. They're garbage. Here's my take on it. You're just lazy. You don't want to do the measurements and drill those 2 extra holes so that the subframe just goes right in. To me, that's lazy. With those holes already drilled, you can take this unit back out and pop it right back in, and there's no guesswork. There's no fighting it around. Once you get it lined up and it pops in them pins, you're done. It's in there. Boom, done. I did have to kind of push the frame around a little bit. I'm sure it's moved a tiny bit, but it's in there. It popped right in. So my next step, I'm kind of done for the night, but my next step will be to drill the holes up from the bottom. I'll cut the top of the frame. I'm going to set the boxes in. I'm going to put them upper plates in, and I'm going to bolt it all together before I weld it. That way everything stays where it needs to be. I'll weld my boxes up. I'll probably weld across the top of the frame, down a couple of sides, stitch it in, and then I'll drop the subframe out, fully weld everything. I'll put some rust preventive paint on it, put it back in. Actually, I am going to paint the frame rails. I'm going to clean the frame rails up real nice. I haven't decided. I want to paint this bumper a gloss black, and I want to paint the firewall gloss black because the truck is actually black and white and rust, a lot of rust color. There's not much paint left on the bed. We're leaving the exterior of the truck the way you see it. So it's going to be rusty. This is black, this is white, but we're leaving all that staying. That's all part of the build. We want to leave the truck look like an old junkyard truck that somebody put a hot rod motor in and slammed it. That's the look. But there's certain things I do want to paint on the truck. I want to paint the bumper. Eventually, I think I'm going to repaint the boom, but not the bed. I'm going to paint the inside of the floor of the bed, probably just like a machine gray or something. He's going to get a full interior. I think I'm going to paint the firewall gloss black since the door jambs are gloss black. Originally, the truck looks like it was blue. But somewhere in its life, maybe when the truck was built, they painted it black and white. Maybe it was built for somebody. Who knows? You know, the truck is a 75, I believe. Last time it was on the road was 1995. Because last time it was PA inspected. Kind of cool. So my dilemma, not really a dilemma, just haven't decided. Do I paint the frame rails shiny black, or do I paint them like a flat or semi? I'm kind of leaning towards the semi because it'll contrast with the shiny black firewall. I'm going to do the inner fender wells and the radiator support satin black because that's what they originally would have been. So maybe I kind of set it off. And I thought just do the frame rails satin black as well. We'll leave this aluminum part aluminum. It's getting new struts. It's getting new upper control arms. Of course, new brakes, lower ball joints, tie rods, possibly a rack. I'm not sure. I might replace the rack. I don't know. The rack doesn't appear to leak. This did come out of a P chassis, which is a police car. I did not buy police car struts, and the reason I didn't is everything I've read, the guys that are really into these things, the P subframe springs are heavier, so they tend to sit a little higher. This truck's going to sit pretty low as it is. I mean, you got the weight of the bumper, the weight of the motor. I think it's going to sit pretty good. I don't think we're really going to need to go much lower. The back of the truck, what I believe we're going to do is I've got some F100 springs. They're the same width as the springs are in this truck. I'm not going to do anything to the rear until the front end's done, motor and trans are back in it, and some of the sheet metal's on the front of it. So that way it's got almost all of its weight on the front, and then I can kind of play. Because I do want a little bit of a rake. I don't want to sit in dead level. I want a little bit of a rake. So we'll play with the rear of the truck when the front is done and got most of it together. That's when we'll tackle the rear. And I've been toying with the idea of possibly just 4-linking the rear and doing coilovers, because then I can adjust it. I've toyed with that idea as well. We'll see when we get to that point. We're not there yet. But this is a huge milestone for this project. Huge, huge, huge milestone. I'm really excited now. I'm really excited to get motivated. Man, I just can't wait. This is going to be, I think, maybe not everybody else, but I think this is going to be pretty cool. As far as wheels go, we're going to be running the stock 16-inch Bud wheels on the back. I'm going to run 16-inch Crown Vic wheels on the front, and I bought a set of simulators. They're like hubcaps, just snap on. I'm going to run them for now because I don't know what I want to do, but that'll give it the appearance that it has a Bud wheel on the front. Yes, they'll be chrome, but I'll put chrome ones on the back. Maybe it'll look cool with the truck all rusty and lettered up. We'll see. I might send them out and have them powder coated black. I don't know. We're not to that point yet, but I did buy a set to kind of offset to figure out what to do with the front. Because wheels have been a big problem with this project. It kind of held me up for a while because I didn't know what I wanted to do. But yeah, very happy. Double check your measurements when you're doing one of these Crown Vics. I just went and, luckily for me, I have another wrecker right there. So I was able to check my center line against the cab to make sure it was the same center line as that truck. Just to double check, even though I got all the measurements on where to drill your lineup pins. The lineup pins, like I said, are nice because once you got your measurements correct, it just pops right in and there's no guesswork. It's there. It's where it needs to be. Like I said, there's tons of information on the internet if you're doing a dual Crown Vic. This one was just a tiny bit different because this is an F350 chassis, so the frame rails are just a little bit different than like an F100, F150, but it works. It's the same width and everything, so we're golden. And as far as some guys were saying the frame might have been taller. It doesn't really matter because the box is taller than the frame to begin with. So the box dictates your spacing for your upper plate and your bolts and all. So that's going to wrap it up for this video for this evening on the wrecker. We're moving along. My goal is to spend a few hours a week on the truck. I really, really, truly need to get working on some customer stuff I got to do to make some money to fund these projects. But my objective is if I spend a few hours during the week, a few hours on the weekend, the project still moves right along. By getting this in here tonight, we're big steps ahead. Because tomorrow I probably will drill it because I'm excited. So I'll probably drill those 4 holes for the subframe and then cut the top of the frame so I can place the plate, the boxes in, so I can see where everything's going to go. Because I'm really excited to move forward. Holla at your boy. Keeps it real. Catch me on the next one.